Hello, people. Yeah, I added a background to the chat box thing, so maybe that'll work a little bit different. We'll be able to actually see what's written there. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Hope everyone who did anything yesterday, Halloween, hope that was good. It was pretty decent here. We walked around the. Hey, Belmont. We walked around the. Oh, is this thing not working? What in the heck? Oh, it doesn't render the custom emotes. Hey, it's working at least. Thanks for testing it out, Belmont. Okay, yeah. So I want to kind of we're gonna get right into it tonight. But I've got a quick kind of thing. Hey, hey, Obi-Wan. I watched Macho Nacho's latest video where he was talking about the PS Pi. And I just so happen to have gotten two PSP 1000s. I don't know anything about the PSP or the Vita. I don't know anything about. I never owned either of them. My cousins were the only ones that I knew that had a PSP. So, anyways, these are their old. I don't know what state they're in, and I don't have a charger. Actually, I ordered one on eBay. So we're gonna see if these fire up first. But I've got two exactly the same models. So I'm hoping to be able to convert at least one of them over to make a PS Pi. Which, if you didn't watch Tito's video, I didn't watch much of it. I just wanted to know what the project was called, but it seemed really cool. It's essentially a replacement PCB. So you kind of gut. It's like a no cut for the PSP, but you put a Raspberry Pi inside of the PSP, and you can still use it, or you use it like an emulation device. So it's kind of like a portable RetroPie kind of box, but it looks really professionally integrated into the PSP. So the buttons still work. The screen is some kind of IPS, nice looking screen. As far as I know, it still uses the stock battery, but it might use a aftermarket battery. Just I don't know how much of the board integrates into here, but great video, but it's not worth putting Pi on it. If one doesn't work, that would be the ideal one to use. Yeah. Yep, in the frame. So basically everything you see from the outside. I mean, it seems cool. The only problem is I'm not sure how solidified the board is, the actual PCB on the inside. So I would personally probably do the CM4 compute module one, which needs a second a module, some kind of, or he calls it like some kind of like, what is it called, daughter board or something like that, where it holds the CM4 board and that plugs in, or you could use a Raspberry Pi 02 or something. So I don't know. It's not really. I don't think it's super practical. Other than, I don't know if I would go out of my way. I'm sure there's other projects, and this is something ever since I've been focused kind of on like the retro modding side of things. I pretty much skipped over a lot of the stuff that's come out that is like emulation related stuff until I got like the Mio Mini and the Analog Pocket, and so I just kind of see the all these cool projects that are out there. And hey, I didn't have to buy these. I got these for free, so I don't know. Okay, so let's hop over to the bench, and we're going to talk about what we're going to do tonight and how last night went and what I did since then. So let's go over to the bench. And I don't really, CM4 doesn't have an SSD. It doesn't have, well, it depends on which one you get, but it doesn't have MMC, like integrated. Well, if you get the Lite, it can load from an SD card, which is fine. I think if I'm sure SD cards speeds are fine. It's on the back of the SD card slot is integrated. I believe it's integrated into the PS Pi carrier board. So the CM4 goes into this carrier board. The CM4 goes in this carrier board, but on the back side of the carrier board is an SD card slot. And then that rides along on the actual PS Pi main board inside. So as far as I know, you can run it from the, I don't know, I didn't look into it that heavily, but I mean, that's what I would have probably like. And if you look at the project kind of description, it says that he wants to support any version of the CM4. So there's versions that have Wi-Fi, some that don't, some that have built-in MMC memory, some that don't. So I don't know, just something to goof around with, I suppose. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. Power board looking good from here. Oh yeah, we're diving in. Here we go. All right, let's go. All right, so yes, I wanted to talk about the power board and how it went. Let me try to. I think it went pretty well. I mean, there's nothing. I did most of this offline. The only thing that we had done last time is I had sort of started soldering this. I don't even know what the heck it is. Some kind of. It's not a regulator, is it? Something. But it's a a quad flat pack. What is the QFN? Is that the footprint or something? Which pretty much requires hot air, or I guess you could use a hot plate if you wanted to do that. But the pins are not exposed on the top side, so you really can't use a soldering iron. So that's one thing I wanted to mark. I fixed that. I straightened it out, I suppose. Oh, it is a regular. Hey, I guessed it. So the other thing I wanted to point is everything else pretty much is a normal-ish component. Some have 3 legs, but some are just normal, like capacitors or resistors or something. The one thing I wanted to point out, and actually Bucket Mouse has a little note. I can't remember where it is in the documentation online, but there's this component up here. It's the only D, so I think it's a diode, D1 here. Normally diodes are directional, so most of the SMD components are not directional. I mean, obviously the 3-sided ones are, the 3-legged ones go only one direction, but anything that's like a normal only 2 pads or something is not directional, but the diode is, and it can be kind of difficult to see. You have to look at the diode itself, and in this case, in this orientation, the diode is on the right. There's a line on the right side of the top of the diode itself, and then there's a line on the actual power board. So that is the indicator. So if it's facing this direction, this orientation, the line on the diode goes on the right hand pad. That's really the only other thing. Quad flat, no leads. Oh, okay. So QFN is quad flat, no leads. So what is the other one? QFD, QFP. There's another one that's just the quad flat, because that just means that there's pins on all 4 sides. I don't know. I give up. So I think this is good. Actually, Bucket Mouse mentions that there are steps that we can test this to make sure this is working, but I don't think we're really there yet. I would like to get some progress on populating some stuff on the main board here. So QFP pins. Oh, I see. That makes sense. So that means that there's pins all the way around the edge. Got it. QFP versus no. So leads versus no leads, essentially. Well, like exposed. That makes sense. Okay, so again, I kind of don't really have any direction. I know that we need to eventually, whether we're going to do that tonight, I'm not sure. Hold on a second. I know that eventually we're going to need to steal some components out of this Game Boy Color. I believe we need the power button. No, not the power button. Because it's in the Pocket form factor, we need to kind of reference the Pocket itself. So there won't be aren't going to use a contrast wheel, but I believe in the BOM is like a rocker button thing that's used for the OSD navigation or something like that. And then, so we are going to need to get the extension port to fill out this side. And I believe the bill of materials has another volume wheel, so I'm not going to need to take that. I think the only other thing that we're going to need is the cartridge slot. I'm sure there's other things. I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head. I ordered the battery leads, so those are coming. Those are just normal pocket replacement leads, but I don't have them yet. Or package. So everything else is pretty much either through hole or surface mount. I guess I'll note before we move on too, if you're curious about the coloring, this is PC. So this is not necessarily a sponsored stream. The last stream was sponsored by PCBWay. So they still sponsor me in general on the channel, I suppose. But I wanted to mention a couple of things about the coloring. So this is like their matte black solder mask for the top part, and then I think I uploaded the wrong Gerbers. So this is the Gerber that has like an additional, like a second layer of white solder mask on top. So you can get like dual color solder mask, but it's usually like a main color and then white, or like you really don't have many options with the secondary color to choose. But yeah, I sort of wish it was the all matte black variant. But it looks fine, and you won't really. I'm not gonna, it'll look fine in the shell. It does kind of make the buttons and stuff pop out, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, okay. So, I guess the only thing that it says to kind of try before you move on, well, I guess we're probably going to solder the whole CPU with hot air. However, it does say that try to solder this, I guess it's P2, but it's this flex cable connector here. So that is the same pitch, not solder mask on the bottom. Oh, is it some other fancy stuff? It's also not very even, the whiteness of it. I don't, it doesn't necessarily matter for my purposes, and I don't, keep in mind, I think companies like PCBWay, it's obviously meant to be prototype. It's not like a big giant companies probably wouldn't use them to produce their boards, but I see kind of streaks, so they must have some kind of squeegee or something, like a card maybe that they apply the second layer of whatever it is. Oh, I guess I see. Never mind. So it's like the silk screen of the so the matte black is a mask, and then the like the lettering is, I guess, is the what do they call that? Screen printing, whatever. So they must just screen print this part as well. So it's not perfect, but it is fine. It'll look fine in the case for sure. It's a bit hit or miss sometimes. Yeah. So that's fine, and they all look kind of the same. So I didn't really, there wasn't really a choice what they look like. So I've got the flex cable connectors. Let's just attempt them, I suppose. Although I don't know, we're gonna have to put some. I'm kind of trying to limit how much hot air. How many components are on the board when we. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to limit how many components are on the board when we go to install the CPU here, which we probably also should be able to do with hot air. If I put some Captain tape over this to keep it from melting or something. I have 2 of these connectors, so. All right, I'm going to shut up, and I'm just going to start. Silkscreen is the same material that they print the part numbers with. Yeah, I got it. We got there. Okay, so the pin pitch is very small. Kind of similar, actually, to the pitch of like the PS2 chip when you do a PS2 gem, when you solder the flex cables. But these are a little bit more delicate than that, because these are kind of like, I don't know. It's not so really supported by anything. And this, I know if anybody who's tried to like hot air one of these connectors off, it's like pretty much impossible without destroying it. I believe you have to it's probably easiest if you were going to do a repair on these flex cable things to heat the bottom of the board up, and then so basically solder it from the bottom like I did the regulator here, the QFN. Okay, all right, so let us, I always, when I do any flex cable connectors, they're pretty much the same strategy for most of them. What I like to do is, actually, I have my thingy. Does it make sense to, or is this silly? I don't know. I suppose it depends on how annoying it is in the camera. Yeah, this thing is kind of nasty from when I used it to hold the power board. Hold on, we're working on it. We're getting there. This is kind of closer. I put my, oh, you know what? It doesn't want to focus. Minimum focus distance, you suck. There we go. Is that like a little bit better? Oh, now this is kind of difficult for us to do here. Let's try it. Okay, I'm just tightening down my little clampy boy thing here, but this kind of gives it a little bit more separate. It makes it a little bit closer to the lens, but yeah, should be fine. All right, so the first thing that I do when I do any flex cable connectors is usually on the, oh gosh, this is not a good idea. Okay, got it. Usually there are two ground pads, so like this is not going to work. It doesn't lock. Wait a minute. Actually, you know what? Ah, because I'm using the thick side. Hold on, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. The little grabbers on this thing are, one side is for thick PCBs and one side is for thinner. So if I spin it, there we go. That uses the thin side. There we go. Okay. That's hopefully that's fine. Okay. All right. So that thing I keep saying, starting and then not ever finishing, is take some solder and we add some solder to one of the ground pads. So like this one. Okay. Now once you've got that one, then you take your connector and make sure the pins are going the right way. Now it's kind of about heating this up and then also positioning the pins at like the same time. And sometimes these give you a little bit of wiggle room. So like if you're not 100% lined up, it allows you to bend it. See right now, if you look at it kind of carefully, you'll see that the pins, or like the whole thing is not level. Like this whole part is not level, but you have the tiniest bit of wiggle room to straighten it out. So now is the time that I would straighten it out and tack down this left side at the same time. So I think we can do that. Well, kind of. Okay. Let me just, before I pull the trigger, I just want to make sure that I'm lined up. I think I am. And I think as soon as I do that, well, actually, you know what? I want to move over a little bit. Dun, 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 dun. Try not to melt it. Okay. Okay, I think that's better. So now we can just get some solder. And just kind of tack down some pins on that side. I think I literally just tacked a single pin. The other ones aren't making a connection. That's funny. All right, I'm just looking at it with my eyes, making sure that it's lined up. I don't really, it will be better once we start soldering it. But as long as the pin is over the pad 100%. So now, I guess we could take some nice flux. I mean, I guess I normally would use liquid flux for this, but this is just going to last a little bit longer. Now, I don't really want to drag solder that much. Like, I don't want to bend the pins. So I think it's a safe bet to just kind of take some solder. Don't want to go near the pin that we tacked down already, but like a little bit over from it. And just kind of do the press and drag back thing. So it's not necessarily soldering side to side. It's more like find a spot, put some solder down and then smooth it out. And then kind of repeat. If you have little bridges, that's fine. I would leave them and come back later. Make sure, I'm just trying to get more pins soldered down at one time. This is kind of a strange, not strange, but this pin is sort of, or this flex cable connector, I guess, is kind of long, and I'm not used to soldering these long ones. Like I've done a couple for the GBA HD that were shorter. Actually, maybe they were the same size. I don't know. Okay, I think we're doing it. I don't know. I think it'll come better once I get more solder on. So I'm just gonna keep adding solder. See how it goes. I like Bucket Mouse. Did you make some of these components gold on purpose to match the Enig, or was that a happy accident? All right, making progress. Gold on gold. Heck yeah. Tricky to solder. It's gold-plated pins because the ribbon cable for the screen is gold-plated. Ah. Gotcha. I have a feeling that this would probably be difficult to repair if it didn't work. Like you populate most of the board and then you get to this and this is the problem or something. Trying to fix this with all the other stuff around might be a little cramped, but once you're there, it'd probably be all right. I'm gonna add some more flux, the liquid flux here. I guess I'll repeat it again. I'm not going to talk about the stupid money from YouTube thing, but if you want to support me and when I'm doing the live streams and stuff, you can become a member. That's going to help me just to buy mods and stuff and equipment just to make the streams that much better. I don't need that much equipment, but a scope and a second camera, even if it's a webcam, I think would be good. I guess I can also do this. I'm going to set up this other ground over here. Or maybe I don't want to do that yet. Maybe not. Let's keep going with what I was doing. Uh-oh. I melted the thing. Whoops. See, I touched it. Right, that little spot. All right, I'm starting to like it better. I do have some bridges. I know it might be hard for you guys to tell on this side here. There are some pins that have some bridges there. So what I'm going to do, just a little bit of bridging. It's not that crazy. So I'm going to grab my wick and just be kind of very quick and like that's good. There you go. Okay. Okay, and then I'll just use a little bit of liquid flux. Then I don't know. Do you guys want to dive into removing stuff from the Game Boy Colors? The color, I mean. Or would you rather continue putting new parts in? Okay, so now that I think I'm happy with that. I'm gonna clean it up with some isopropyl alcohol, but not until I solder the other ground pad. All right. So I think all the rest of my components are actually coming shortly. The screen and the battery thing. So, you know, time is of the essence. As soon as I'm done here, we can or you know, probably next stream maybe if I'm that far along with populating everything, we can build the whole thing, finish putting it together. All right, I think that's fine. It looks all right, right? Maybe not the best job. It's, you know, it is what it is. But at least the pads look like they have contact. I don't see any bridging. Well, I don't really like this. Huh? I need to add some more. I know I just cleaned it off, but. Oh, let me turn on my fan thing. Oh, now I'm creating another bridge. Ugh. I have this one little stinking bridge. All right, take a comment break. FFC first. Uh-oh. Jack, was this a mistake? All right, let's do some more. This. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good with that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you want me to take the parts out of the Game Boy, or should we just keep? I don't know. Keep adding stuff. I feel like the CPU will be. Hey, I'll be right back, guys. I gotta make a quick phone call. Okay. We're back. Minor kerfuffle about garbage can color, but we're good. Okay. All right. Well, let me go back to the computer and just see what parts we need to remove from the Game Boy Color. I'm just gonna quickly okay. Game Boy electronic parts. Okay, U1 is the CPU, which I haven't checked if the CPU is compatible. So I have two, so hopefully one of the two that I've got is compatible. We could also steal the crystal, or we need to steal the crystal. It's a required part. Okay, got it. The cartridge connector and the headphone jack. Looks like they're universal between the Game Boy Color and the Pocket, which is kind of cool. I mean, that makes sense. The cart slot is for Game Boy cartridges, and the headphone jack is just a headphone jack. Okay, so there's a couple of parts that I'm not sure if they were included. Looks at this SRAM. I think I remember ordering SRAM, but we might have to desolder this RAM too. And this crazy thing, this machoke. So I don't know. We can kind of see. So far it's the CPU, the crystal, and the cartridge connector and the headphone jack. Oh, and then we need the volume dial, power switch. Oh, so we do need a power switch. The link port and the DC jack. So that's quite a bit of things. So let's go do that, I guess. Because I want to solder the CPU early, I think. Because I don't want parts on the board, that many parts on the board. And actually, because the board is so thin, and because we had such good luck last time with doing airflow from underneath, I might try to solder it from underneath. Anybody who's done this before, let me know. Fun fact, Game Boy Pocket cartridge slots don't work in a Game Boy Color shell, but Color ones work in a Pocket shell. Huh, interesting. So they must have standardized the footprint or something, made a slimmer footprint. All right, so let's bust open that purple Game Boy Color. I know the title of the stream was Populating the Board, but I don't, again, I don't know how much populating we're gonna do, but hey, at least we have this one piece, and we'll be on our way to able to solder the CPU, which is probably the most important, or it is the most important thing. We're gonna have to do Leon's patented, as long as it's not Rev E. Oh, God, thanks, Jack, getting my hopes up. All right, let's. Ugh. Oh man, sometimes that it's either isopropyl alcohol or flux that makes me cough real bad. So we're gonna use the purple one because it doesn't really matter because it's not like I'm trashing anything, but we're gonna use this purple boy. So what we need? Oh gosh, look at the corrosion on the screws. We're gonna need the tri-wing screwdriver, which I'm gonna use my, if I can find it, my iFixit screwdriver. I wish I had a dang iFixit sponsorship like Tito does. Sweet. Okay. Oh, I didn't mention, but I have a pile of parts over here. So all the rest of the last week we sorted all the bill of materials things I got from Mouser into two piles. One for the power board, so I used up all those already. But the other one is all the components for the main board, and it's sitting off in a pile up there. So I didn't want to say it, but eventually we're going to need them. And I wasn't sure if I got the tactile buttons. How do you guys feel about tactile buttons? Has anyone done a mod with them? I mean, I know I have an SP, so I kind of was feeling the SP buttons because the SP has tactile switch buttons. But if anybody's done this, did you choose to do, or a similar thing, did you choose to use the tactile buttons or just the normal membrane buttons? It's not too late for me to, well, I guess it's never really too late. All right, there's probably a way to tell if it's a Rev E by the thing, but I don't know. All right, so we want to do what? Button side down. Then there should be two more, or a few more normal screws, and then we can take the whole board out. Oh, and obviously we'll do the, well, here we'll do the let's take the the screen out. Okay. Now I see 1, 2, 3 screws down here. Oh, we're also going to need, well, we won't need the physical switch button. Oops, I'm just unscrewing screws. Oh, Rev D. We're good, right? That's what I needed to see. Nice. So we got the last, or the most recent, I'm assuming they went in age order, the numbers. So we got the most recent compatible version, which is mucho bueno. I love the all metal buttons. Nice. Start select silicone feels not great with tactiles. I see. Oh, I see. You like the tactile switches with the using them with buttons or metal buttons. Got it. Okay. Oh wow, look at this. So this is what we remade. However, we made one that's not compatible with older. That's crazy. They made like dip switch pin legs instead of using it probably was available, the header pins. That's weird. They use like dip pins instead. Okay. So again, there's sort of there's definitely an order of operations here. Let's see. I think I might start with the cartridge slot, because we don't want that anywhere near. We don't want that anywhere near the hot air, for sure. So let's get the suckerator, the FR301. Now's the time to use your emotes. I don't know. All right, while we wait, I guess we can add some fresh solder while we wait for that to heat up. So let's do one of these. Oh, you know what I meant? You know what I meant to do before I started the stream was clean my desoldering iron, but that's right. So I'm doing this kind of to just add some fresh, like new solder. But it's also to kind of deposit some of the flux back on the board and just, I don't know. wake the old solder up. I don't really know if it actually does anything. But, well, yeah, I mean, I definitely know it helps. But why it helps, other than introducing a little bit of flux, because you can kind of see it burning off on the board over here, but not like 100% burning off. I don't know. I'm just going to start shouting about that because I don't know enough about that. All right. We should be able to... That speaker is pristine. Let's see. Oh, yeah, look at that. Huh. Yeah, look at that. Pretty good. Like I said, my goal is I'm not going to damage anything, hopefully. I hope. All right, let's start suckerating the thing here. Cartridge slot. It should be pretty easy because, again, this board is thinner than normal. It's a millimeter instead of 1.6. This is a lot of pins. Almost there. Do more. Alrighty. Well, actually, I don't know if it's 100% desoldered, so I'll leave that on. Well, I see 2 clips on the outside edges. Do I just send it? Oh yeah, easy. Ooh, I just want to see how that looks on the new board. It's gonna look, when everything is on here, it's gonna look so sick. Okay, went on that way. So like this. Oh, yep, that is sweet. All right, I'm excited about that. Cool. All right, cartridge slot done. Wifey just got home asking about her day, and I'll be back. I see where the order of things is. I'm also going to desolder the speaker. Because it's just kind of floppy. Floppy. Okay. Pristine speaker. All right, so now let's go back to the list. What was the first thing? So cartridge connector, got it. Let's locate, oh, so we know where the CPU is, that's the big thing, but let's locate X1, the crystal. So that should be, where the hell is U1? So I see U3, I see U2 is this RAM, Okay, so here it's over here. This right next to the CPU. Uh, yeah, I think either way, because there's a bunch of components on the top, the best way to do it is to just probably just heat the bottom from the bottom. I don't see any surface mount components on the bottom here. So once we remove everything, oh look, is this the IR LEDs? That's cool. That's neat. And the receiver, or the transmitter and the receiver. Once we remove the cartridge slot connector, the volume wheel, pretty much anything that's not, and the switch over here, pretty much anything that's not a SMD component will be gone. So I think, and then we'll have to do stuff down here, but it won't be anywhere near up here. But then we should be able to use hot air underneath and grab the CPU and the Crystal. While I said that, let me check to see if I ordered the RAM, the SRAM. I thought I saw a bag in here earlier today that said SRAM. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't need that, or need to remove that other one. What would it be on the board? What would it be called? U2. Okay, I'm looking for U2. U3? Oh, that might be this big thing. Yep. Okay, U2, but let's see what's in it. Whoa. What the heck? And then just some silica gel in here? What? I mean, I'm saying what, like, why would they do that? But, like, I know they're an industrial supply place. Like, why wouldn't they do that? Okay. That's a little box. Just for the SD-RAM. Oh, it's taped. Duh. Okay. Wow, this is insane. This little tiny box. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my god. Who was like, I really have to do this for one of these little chips? That's incredible, kind of. Well, okay. That's funny. They've been sending more stuff. I wonder if, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, we know that's U2, and I don't have to buy one, so, or I won't have to take the one that's on the, old Game Boy. Okay, so we got the cartridge slot. What's next? Let's get after the SD-RAM. Okay, the EM10. Did I? Okay, I probably also ordered EM10 then. So let's do the things that we know we need to do: volume dial, the power switch, the link port, and the DC jack. So that's basically everything that I was saying earlier. So I guess we can start with the simple things down here. Do you think I'm gonna need my bigger? Yeah, I'm gonna, probably. Actually, excuse me, let me just, yeah, I'm gonna use the bigger tip. I'll add some fresh solder to this, and then I'll use my bigger desoldering iron thing. I probably could use the Goot wick itself to desolder this, but that's right. I have the desoldering iron. Oh, I need the little nozzle-rator. Come on out. Really? Well. Coming out. Okay, now that's gonna be super hot. Okay. Okay, we got it. Okay, now the new one. Ah! Actually, no, that can go on the iron itself. Okay. All right, so we're good. Let's go desolder these guys. That one didn't sound good. Not like something's broken, but wasn't happy about. Whoa. Okay. Ah, that's hot. Okay, don't touch things after you desolder them. I was admiring how it looked, but I desolder all the ports with low melt solder personally. Yes, yeah. That is interesting. So, you have separate solder just for that? Generally, when I'm building one of these things, let's see. Let's scroll up first. Caveman rips it open. That little RAM box is nice. Always save them and then never use them again. Yeah, it's for ESD and moisture protection. Oh, neat. Better box than the Eon Xbox adapter. Amazon Package Energy, yeah. Apparently in Canada with, what's his name? Bearded, what's his Twitter handle? I don't remember off the top of my head. He keeps getting these games from Amazon and they're like beat to heck. The boxes are just like crumpled. I probably need to be better about that. I just melt and suck. Yeah. How much was that desoldering gun there? These are, there was a well, keep in mind that these are different in different regions. So there was one that went on sale. This iron went on sale a while, maybe 2 months or something ago, and it was $200. But that was the Japanese version, which should work in the U.S. because we both have one 15-volt whatever AC. But yeah, I don't know if there's any power difference. But yeah, when I bought mine, it was like 300 or 350 or something, so not cheap. But I use it all the time, so definitely worth. Okay, that's that port. Now we need the extension port, and then we need the volume slider too, right? Or yeah, the volume dial VR1. Yeah, that. Okay, so that might be tricky. So let's do the port first. I also might desolder this LED. And I'm considering desoldering the IR emitter and receiver LEDs or whatever those are. Just to avoid melting them. Because this is right in the melt zone of where we're going to be hot airing in a little bit. So, all right. Suck. Actually, you know what? For these small pins, I'm gonna switch back. I'm gonna switch back to the other one because I found that if you try to use the big holes for some smaller pins, then you might not. It's just not a good idea. Where is my thing? This thing. So, just better off to just take it off. And with this thing, you don't really even have to touch the thing. So, the nozzle, you know what I mean, the nozzle. turn it back on. Handlebar Gamer, yeah, yep. When I was looking, they were like 400. Yeah, I think they're sub 400. They're probably 300. I'd have to look on Amazon. I went to work, but it's $2,000. My God, I can't even. I couldn't imagine what a $2,000 sucker would do compared to a. Well, that's not true. I know that there are a ton of crazy. I guess they're like semi-automated hot air stations. So like the hot air is kind of like at a fixed, or maybe it's like a separate thing, but then there's like a separate little attachment, like a little sucker arm that you stick on the thing, and then it knows you can program it to like heat to a certain temperature profile, and then when it gets to that profile, it'll suck the part off. So it's kind of like a more automated hot air gun. Well, it's more than a hot air gun. It's like a whole rework station, whereas this is just kind of its own little thing, little gun. All right, well, I probably spoke too soon about switching, but I should be able to use the wick. Okay. Now, use the wick. If I have to, I'll switch back to the other one. I guess I could have used the manual sucker too, but is this? That is a weird. Oh, I guess it's not. I guess it's just like just right sized for that part. Ugh, I put my hand in some goop. Ew, there's so much goop up here. Okay, sorry. Okay. Did I do it? You know what I should do? All right. Huh? Oh, gotta put it on. Yeah, there we go. Well, let me go back over these pins and make sure I've got them all desoldered, because this is not coming. And I'll probably just switch to the other nozzle. I don't want to end up making a mess here. But I could check if the pins are free. Okay, that one wasn't. Got it. So, just add some more solder. All right. Now is that free? Yes, that's free. Okay. So these aren't free. These pins here. Well, this side might be free. But they're kind of like... They're not just normal pins. They're like... clips, kind of, as well. Just do the old side-to-side wiggle maneuver. Woo! All right. Yeet! Okay, we're good with the port. All right, then what? The only thing left is beside the CPU, is the volume wheel here. So these should be straightforward to remove the solder here. All right, so that's that. Now the other pins are on the other side. Let's zoom out a bit. And we gotta flip it over. Yeah, this power switch might be the most difficult part. I don't know if I have another one in the BOM or if there is one in the BOM, but we'll give our best try to remove it. Wait a minute, it's the wheel, not the switch. Or do we need both? Or did I buy a new one? I don't know. I just use new ones. Well, what I do for the volume wheel is hit the board with hot air around the test points. Doesn't take long for it to just fall off. Test points on the other side, you're saying? Oh, like here? Oh, so you do it like this and it just falls off itself? Is that what you're talking about? Like from the top here? I don't understand the design to make a Game Boy Color smaller. Well, it's more of I'm making a Game Boy Color from scratch, kind of. Well, I'm not. I'm putting together a project where somebody else designed a board to make a brand new Game Boy Color, which is probably the go-to way to play Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games, I would say. I don't know if I have extras, and I don't know if I bought the replacement ones. So while we're here, we might as well just try it. I don't know if that's what you meant, but I'm pro flat butt. The GBC has. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just like surgery for Game Boys, kind of. Just kidding. I don't know. Well, should we try what Jack said? Well, actually, before I do anything, I'm gonna hit it up with some new solder, regardless. Actually, it looks like it might not be that hard to just use some solder braid and take it off, but if the hot air is easier, then I'll just do that. Ah, okay. Honestly, it's worth it for the audio circuit alone. Interesting. I did all the work for the DMGC. Making it fit in a pocket shell was a challenge. Oh, I did all the work for the DMGC. Making it fit in a pocket shell was a bit of a challenge, but not terrible since I had the bulk of the annoying work done already. How similar is the circuitry, other than the CPU and stuff? How different are they between the two, or between? Yeah, because really, the pocket couldn't be that much different than the DMG circuitry, right? Because it uses the same. Does it use the same CPU as the DMG? Okay, so let's flip it, and we'll do the hot air thing. We'll see if we can try to get this wheel to fall off. Should I add some flux, I guess? I don't know how well it will stick. Okay, boom. This is going to be a nasty Game Boy board when it's finished. Never mind. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Okay. Let's go! We're getting to 400. All right, here we go. I'm going to use my tweezers on this. Well, this is going to be really awkward to see. Okay. I'm going to try to push down on this side over here. There's like a metal part on the wheel. Oops. Hey. That was easy. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's hot, but that did it. That was pretty easy. Yeah, that's a good method to do it. I was just kind of aiming at the board at these test points. So on the other side, right on the other opposite side of that is where the legs were to that. That's a really good strategy. And that would probably even work for the CPU, right? Actually, you know what? Is that not good then? Are all these components going to fall off? Actually, I might still solder it right way up like this. Or have it in this thing and then just blow underneath it like that. And that was easy. What do you mean? What WTF, Sean and me? I think I did a pretty good job, right? Ooh, I'm not sure if I ripped the pads off of the top. Sometimes I can see, like, there's solidified solder that looks like the pad ripped off, but it is also just solder. like it's not metal. It's not part. Well, I mean, it's metal because it's the solder is lead, but it's not part of the pad ripping off. So I think that was pretty good. That worked a hell of a lot faster than my method of replacing the volume wheels. I've learned something new here. Yeah, that was nice. That was good. All right, so do I need a power switch? Do I need this also? I guess it would be cool. I guess it would be cool to use the real RAM. Like, how cool on a scale of 1 to 10 is it to use that? Is that stupid? Well, okay. Like, how much? Let's just see. That's the solder holding the shape of the pad. Yeah, yep. How much of this? I guess we should sacrifice as much of this as possible, right? All right, so let's do... I don't know. We're running out of easy things to take now. Do I need a power button? I don't know if the power switch. So SW1. So that's this. Well, I guess we could try the same thing. Like, what does it look like there? Yeah, I mean, we could try it, right? I know it's plastic, so it's kind of like, I don't know. Let me see if I have an SW1. I guess I should go look. I could just go look up my Mouser order, but Crystal is easy to remove. Do the same thing for the power switch. Okay. Well, I'm not sure if I have. Okay, so there aren't new replacements for the switch then. I found out the hard way that the only way to get GBC cartridge pins is from another Game Boy. Yeah, but the Game Boy Advance and the DMG are cheap and plenty. I don't know about that. I've tried to buy a bunch of DMGs specifically, and well, okay, maybe the Game Boy Advance is probably cheaper nowadays than the color. Everybody wants colors for mods. So I am unfortunately participating in the act of making Game Boy prices higher. Oh well. Okay. All right, so I guess we do the same thing, although this time I'm going to stay away from the button. Oh, really? I'm going to stay away from the edge because I don't want to blast air. I don't want to blast air directly on this part that's sticking out the side. So I'm going to try to stay over here. But I think it should be fine. There's like literally 80 million Game Boys. There's no reason for the price of them to be above. Yeah, I know, but when they're $80 to $100 or something, then it's insane. Your impact is well, see, I don't know. Like, I don't know. You guys really think that there's that many left in circulation? Because I know I'm pretty sure that mine got thrown out by my mom. Not trying to dunk on my mom or anything. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Actually, you know what? I need to add some flux. I'm pretty sure that because of the size of them, and I don't think they were that expensive at the time, even new. I don't think that they're that expensive, so I am willing to bet, maybe not a majority of them, but a lot of them got just thrown out. At least I hope so, because that makes me feel better. If you have Captain Tape, you can shield the plastic tab on the Switch. Okay, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I could do this-ish. Okay. Well, you guys can't see nothing. Okay. If only 1% of the Game Boy Colors are still around, that's over 1 million, yeah. Even if half the Game Boy line was thrown out, we'd still have literally millions left, yeah. So I don't know, they're kicking around in a bunch of mom's attics then. Because they're definitely not on eBay for an affordable price, that's for sure. Or at conventions, where the cost of consoles is barely less than eBay. All right, so I'm gonna keep an eye. I'm gonna try to keep an eye on the underside of this one. Holy cow. That scared the heck out of me. Okay, well, it fell on the floor. It fell off my table, fell onto the floor, and got solder splashed everywhere. The cool part about solder, if it lands on your floor, is it doesn't usually damage it. It usually just cools instantly, which is kind of cool. But I didn't... Let me show you guys now. Hey. So we're good on the Switch side. Nothing melted. Oops. Nothing melted. I think we're good. The legs are all intact. The plastic didn't deform. I think the body of it is actually not... Oh, it might be Bakelite or something. It's not the same as the white plastic. It's like the brown. It almost looks like fiberglass, like FR4, but I think it's Bakelite. Cool. So that was good. Now we just have to do the chips and stuff, right? That's really cool how I can use most of the... There's supposed to be aftermarket color cart slots coming. Oh, I see. Just for the cartridges. I guess that's really... I did say I was going to remove this. Because if, depending on where I'm going to be heating up, I don't want any air blowing across the board and ruining this LED here. Let me just note the orientation. Okay, so it looks like it's the little bit is pointing out, like away from the board that way. So let's desolder it. I'm tempted to do the IR ones as well. I don't know. What do you got? Probably not close enough to the CPU to warrant it. Okay, that is the sound of my soldering iron clogging. But I think I got the LED desoldered enough. Yep. Okay, cool. Any place to get a proper OEM-like power switch replacement? I've seen others and they are smaller. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a question for the other guys. Okay. So I guess we should focus on what? It looks like it might be easier to remove the crystal after. I'm kind of tempted to try to desolder the SRAM just to practice, right? Because that's kind of away from everything else, and I don't think there's a risk of the CPU coming off if I try to do the underneath heat from underneath. Although I suppose I could still do the I don't know, Jack, what do you do from here? Do you do the same kind of thing? You just kind of generalize the heat above the component you're trying to desolder and hope it falls off? Or is there a risk then of these smaller components coming off here? So let's, while we're waiting, I can always add some solder. I'm going to start with the SRAM. I know I bought one, but I figured that I might as well try to use as much of this as possible, and just to practice, you know. There isn't much opportunity to really do this kind of SMD work that much on purpose anyways. Okay, you don't have to worry about bridges right now or anything. You're just worried about getting just flux and solder in there. No, they're different. All right, well, I still think that the general idea should be, so have my tweezers ready on the top, right? So have my tweezers ready to poke at this. Or should I just do the normal way and put Captain tape? Should I just put Captain tape around the components and just do it from the top? Without a hot plate, I would heat from below the CPU. Okay, got it. Okay. All right, so that's fine. I'm going to try it. I'm going to just try... actually, you know what? I should try to bend my... change the angle, I suppose I should say, of my hot air nozzle. Frick. I don't have a big, well, this might be hot, but. I don't know how I can grip that without hurting myself. I think it'll be fine. Okay. Since you're going from behind the board, you could probably take the nozzle off. I'm worried that that's just a lot of... I'm worried about that's a big area, because these are kind of... This thing is kind of big. So, I think that this is fine. All right, I'm just going to try it. I don't know. I'm going to experiment. You could probably tilt the board 45 degrees. Oh, yeah, that's right. Hit the back of the CPU with heat as well. If your stand is not tall, you can... Oh, stupid. There's emojis in the way. For you to get the hot air underneath. You haven't used a nozzle for years, really? Wow, okay. All right, so I'm gonna try, I guess I'll tilt it a little bit, like this. Like that. And that way I can keep an eye on it. And then I'm just gonna do the SRAM first. That'll be our test dummy. Okay. I don't really know what's going to happen. It might slide. It might slide into these other components down here, and if it does, then that might not be great. Hey, all right. That was a thing. It's here. This is our SRAM. Still got a little bit of extra solder on it, but I think that's fine. All right, so that went well enough that I think that I'll just do the same for the CPU. I didn't really... None of the other components that I can see, I know you guys can't really see, but none of the other components really moved. Like these ones are still okay. This is the other closest one up here, is this guy here, but those didn't move, so it's a little more compact over here, but we have to do the CPU and the oscillator over here. So I guess I'll do the same thing. I'll try to do, actually first I'll add some solder to it. Pretty good. Okay, let's not really worried about bridges, like I said earlier, right now. Okay. Careful not to try lifting the CPU until it's ready. You'll get lifted pins. Turn the dumb emoji off. Go to edit and settings. Live. There's a live react box. Edit. I'll have to do it later. Okay, good, because that's annoying. Okay. Let's try that then. So let's do this. It's not quite a 45, but I need to like... Oh boy. I need to move it up, my camera. There we go. Oh, not quite. Is that a little better? There we go. That should be a little better. You guys can see. All right, so I have to take my time with this one, I guess. Not like I didn't take my time before, but I can kind of tell when the pins are coming, it's starting to melt, so how am I going to lift the CPU off? I didn't even think about that. I wonder if there's a better way. All right, hold on. Pause. Maybe I do want to get rid of all the bridges. It might be making it harder to make the pins kind of come off all at the same time. I mean, it might be making the pins not wet all at the same time, which is what you want when you lift it off, so. We'll give it a chance to cool down a little bit. Okay. I'm burning the CPU. Ah! Why not just hit it from the top? No, I'd like to keep it, if possible, I'd like to keep it together. I guess. I'd like to keep it in one piece. I'm going to try that again with no extra solder bridging. I don't think the CPU is being melted. It's just all the flux burning off. I mean, this flex cable down here would have melted way before the CPU did. So, because all you have to do is look at those things weird, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm out of here." My problem is my tweezers are not wide enough. So I keep having to, like, as I'm trying to concentrate and heat it up, I keep having to, like, put my finger in here to make it stretch it out. It's, like, hard. Too much heat on the IC from the bottom can damage it. Okay, well. I don't know what to tell you other than I'm going to try it again. Oh, so maybe that's why you were saying take the thing off so I get a wider heat up. This sucks. Okay, so I think I'm gonna take the tip off. I think it's because it is concentrated in the one area with the nozzle that it is not heating the actual. I'm not able to heat the pins evenly. If that makes sense. So I've got that off. Okay. Try the corner. You want to nudge it first once it's moving. Okay, got it. Don't pick it up. Got it. More heat. Okay. All right, let's try it without the thing on it. So I'm gonna lift it up like this. Now I've got the nozzle off. Although this is kind of scary, but it's all right. Let me add a little bit more flux. It's kind of like gooping everywhere. I'm sorry, motherboard, or Game Boy motherboard. Probably don't need any on that side. Okay. I want this to be closer. Okay. All right, let's try it. I don't know what to expect now. Now it doesn't feel like anything's happening. Maybe this... I don't know. I guess it does. Huh. I don't love this. Let me see if I have... Oh, I've got a bigger straight tip. Not straight, but... Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Do I need this thing? I probably need this thing. Mr. Miyagi, circular motions. I still haven't seen a heat damaged CPU. They're harder than I expect. Yeah. Yeah. For the most part, I think it's not impossible, but... I usually tend to bend pins and things into into a state of not usability. All right, water break. How we doing out there? Melting CPUs with me? Well, man, that's discouraging. All right, we're close, and now I've got the cap thing on there. So let's the narrowing thing, narrowizer. I don't know what the hell it is. This is a lot of flux that I'm just wasting, but you guys don't even want to see. It's like nasty at the bottom of this board. Okay. All right. Circular motions, Mr. Miyagi. Maybe I need more air. Oh God. Help me. Jesus! No! No! Alright. Not moving it. Help! Someone help! Need an adult. Come on. Get off! Okay. There goes all the components on this board. Oh God, that was a nightmare. Alright, well, I think the only component I lost... I don't even know if I lost one. This one is just turned around. Oh God, these ones are all... Oh yeah, look, these ones are all not tombstone, but they're switched around. So they're not gone off the board. They're there. Oh hey, look, a diode. Looks like that other diode. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's fine, the parts. Well, we got it. That was ridiculous. Yeah, that... Sorry, the flux... Oh, I'm sorry. The flux is killing me. I have my thing going too, and it just wasn't keeping up. I need a better fume extractor. Okay, so what did we learn? The temperature of my thing was fine. I just needed more airflow. It was harder to keep all the pins hot at the same time than the other pieces, like the plastic switches and things. So with more speed, you deliver the same temperature of air to the thing faster. That's my, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about right now. All right, let's do the crystal. I think is the last thing we need. I think we might have to come back here for other things, possibly, but don't know. I'm guessing this is the same sort of deal. We did it, finally. Let's check the chat. Need thinner tweezers. Yeah, that's probably true. I need to get, yeah. Or they make, I believe they make special flat tweezers, like the tweezers that are flat, like a poker, some kind of better tool. Or, you know, maybe it was also two at an angle. Doesn't have a brain anymore. Who cares who comes? Yeah, that's true. All right, let's do the crystal. Got my CPU. I don't see any pins bent. Look at me, my little CPU. Okay. Ew, it is goopy. All right, let's finish off the crystal. I'm gonna keep using this big wide mouth bass boy. That seemed to work well, but I'm gonna have it at a less of an angle. This should be easier to grab once it's ready. Let me just do one of these. Okay, cool. That was obviously a little easier. I hope I didn't mess with the board itself that much. I mean, I don't see many components that I'm just straight up missing, or any components that I'm straight up missing. Just this one needs to get flipped around, and these ones up here need to get flipped around. This diode maybe needs to get touched up, but everything seems to be intact, which is fine if I ever wanted to use this again. So offline, I'm gonna fix those. So if I ever want this motherboard as a backup, I've got it. Wow, that was kind of nuts. Yeah, I'm gonna go clean my hands in the bathroom. I'll be right back. He needs the board. Yeah, I could give it to someone invents the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. Is it possible to what's missing? Oh, you're talking about putting a Game Boy Advance in a Game Boy Color? Or you mean putting a Game Boy Color in a Game Boy Advance? One of these things sounds more difficult than the other. Ah, flat and at the corner. Oh, wow, look at those. I'm looking at I'm looking at this. Jack posted in my Discord. So first thing is these super delicate tweezers, very fine point. So that would be nice for picking it up, and also just kind of prodding it better. I mean, not to say that those ones are bad for that, but I probably should have kept it flat instead of at a 45. But my thing doesn't go up high enough. Oh, it's over there now, but it's about, I don't know, 6 or 8 inch gap between the bottom and the thing. So, okay. Let me just read comments here. Someone was trying to put a Game Boy Advance in a pocket. It's possible, it just sucks. What about in a DMG? Because you need a shorter cart slot on the back and also LNR buttons. Yep. Or I bet you, if you asked nicely, I'm just trying to think. How could you 3D print? You couldn't really, because the extension port is kind of right here. So somehow if you relocated the extension port or something, somehow you need buttons. So maybe like maybe if you designed a 3D printed back enclosure that was like, but at that point just use a Game Boy Advance. I don't know. I tried. Okay, let's go back over and let's look at what we have left to do. I guess. Well, let's just look at all the parts we've got. I think this is where I'm going to end it. I know I said I was going to populate stuff, but we did a lot already. So we've got the crystal, so that's going to go there-ish. That's going to look sweet. Then we've got the CPU. Sorry. So this is the crystal. It goes there. Here, let me just put it down. And we'll kind of fake mock up this board. Yeah, so crystal goes something like that. CPU goes there. Then the SRAM whatever orientation it ends up going goes here. My hands are too sticky. And then we got the volume potentiometer, goes over there somewhere. Got the headphone jack and the DC jack. That's a tiny little thing. Those go down here somewhere on the other side, I think, not on this side. Then the power switch, switch 2, I guess, over here. Oh no, that's something else. Maybe this is on the other side. I don't know. Extension port over here somewhere. I don't know if these are on the right side either. I'm just kind of making stuff up. And then eventually this too gets soldered on the opposite side, our power board. And then a speaker, and then an LED, and then all the other components. So we still have a lot of work to do. Not as many surface mount parts as I thought. I mean, there's still a lot. So I'm still going to have to be careful with how I plan to install everything, the sort of order of operations, at least in this part here. I might start with, I may just start with the small components and get most of them out of the way. Although I did mention earlier that I wanted to solder the CPU first. Well, the CPU is kind of in no man's land, which is a good thing. It's not in the way of anything. So we'll have to discuss next week, or next Sunday. I'm all for mangling aftermarket shells. You could do a 3D print of an entirely new shell. Once the CPU is loose, your tweezers would work fine. Okay. Sometimes yeah, sometimes you do insanity because you can, not because it has a purpose. That's right. Like the PS Pi. That doesn't make any sense. PS Pi doesn't make any sense, but it is cool. Okay, well. Should we try to install the CPU right now? That's the thing that I said I was going to do. I think I should do that first. Before any of the other surface mount components. Yeah, what the heck? Why not? So let's clean it first. This will be the last thing we do. We have a couple minutes before I've got to get off. Let's clean the underside of it. Ugh, I need to clean my. Can't even pick it up. I need to clean my mat thing here. Okay. Oh no, I bent a pin. Okay. Let's fix this pin. Okay. Jeez. Well, maybe I shouldn't now. Maybe I should fix this off camera. Sorry, I don't know how well I'm framed or if I'm in focus or anything, but I'm trying to address a pin lifting, or a pin. Okay. Okay, that looks fine. Just one in the corner. and these legs are pretty pliable, which I guess is why you should be worried about bending them in the first place. Go for it. Got the CPU on there. Get the CPU on there. PS Pi is silly. Random question: how can you afford all these mods and don't have a scope to help your efficiency? Most of them, most of the mods, I could do by my eye. I only ever mess up. Really, lately. Well, you know, there's a lot of. I probably spent a lot of time on the other flex cable install. Like, oops, what the heck? How is my... Okay, hold on a minute. I'm having a mic situation. I don't know if that was in regards to something specific, Mo. But I really only ever seem to have trouble, well, most of the time, have trouble with with soldering flex cables directly to a chip. And it only ever really came to my mind with the PS2 one, because that is when I failed so much. But I think now it was not necessarily the soldering itself in the beginning that failed. I didn't realize, and a couple of people mentioned that you shouldn't use the test screen or a black screen to test to see if the gem works. So I probably had it right in the beginning, and I just was second guessing myself, and in the trying to fix it better and just get adding more heat to the flex cable and stuff, it just ended up overworking it, even when it probably was already fine. So I don't think, I would not say that I have ever I guess I don't know. It's like a grass is greener at this point, because I don't know if it's going to help me. How well it would help me. It's like you don't know what you don't know. But from what people have said, it sounds like it's very helpful. So I'm gonna be using some of the, if I get that money from from YouTube, that's one of the things that I'm gonna buy, is a scope, because I think it's just time. How I'm gonna integrate it into my stream here is gonna be kind of difficult, because right now I've got my bench top set up. This rig. This is too much solder here. I'll come back and take some off before I start. I have this rig thing that holds my mirrorless camera, so I kind of rely on it a lot just to record things. So I never really thought about needing a. I guess the problem with a microscope for my purposes is I'm always trying to show stuff, right? Like, show the next thing, or zoom even further out than this. Like, this is as far as this zooms right now, but I don't think you can do that with a microscope. This is like 16 or 18 inches from the camera lens to here, which is a lot. Like, you can fit a lot of different consoles and stuff in there, versus a scope. I don't know how much height it gives you to work underneath it. So, but we'll answer that question, because that seems like it would be, having a scope seems like a question or a thing that I should know a good answer to. What's a good one and how to use it well. So, yeah, I'm not trying to disappoint anybody. It's just, the way I like to do things, and yeah, hopefully that answers your question. All right, I'm gonna just look for solder bridges on the tinning, and that might be impossible with the flux I just added. I don't know. I don't really see any, so I'm hoping that if there ends up being a bridge or something, that it's on a side that I can fix it. So let's add some, and it's not bridged underneath the chip, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Let's add some more of this. Well, do I want to put it back on the thing and do the underneath heaty uppy? I think that this is the only piece that I'll need to do that. I think I can drag solder the SRAM. I guess I could do this too, can't I? I don't necessarily need to install that with hot air. Well, although now I guess it's kind of too late to... Well, that's fine. I'm going to do it, I think, the way that most people should do it. I don't think that you should install it with hot air, even though we just desoldered it with hot air. But unless, I guess you're probably, if you're super good, you could probably do it that way with air. But the more reasonable thing is just to drag solder, or just to tack one side at a time down. So I'm going to take off all the fresh solder that I just put down. I want the pads as flat as possible. I don't want the CPU off the board at all. The pins, I mean. So then we could take it. But you just got to be careful to line it up. Let me just check comments before I dive into this. Yeah, in reference to all the micro-soldering required for some of these mods, and of course your last stream was trying to solder that U1 chip. Interesting. Okay, Retro 6, I'll have to look at it. Check out the coder. He uses both a camera and a scope. Okay. Interesting. All right, I'll have to check out if you guys can find a link or maybe to something to that, to either one of those people that did that, to a video that they demonstrate that. That would be helpful. Okay, so the challenge with this, and the thing that hot air kind of helps you out with, is placement. Because when you have things, when you have pins correctly lined up with hot air, the pads kind of stick. The solder makes the pins stick to the pads, lined up to the pads. You know, there's like surface tension. So. It is a little sticky, so that's actually kind of helpful. And you have to line it up in both directions before you do anything. I know somebody out there is like cringing at this, but I suppose if we have to, we can always touch it up with hot air. Okay. I guess I'm happy with that. Okay. Let's try to tack one pin down on this corner here. I think that the scope was just better for you guys watching, you know? So you'll be able to see what I'm doing better than I would be able to see it. Well, I guess not, because that's the whole point of having a scope, huh? God, this is hard. Sorry, I'm like off screen trying to do this. Oh gosh. I feel like there's a bump or something on the board, on the PCB. Okay. I think that's something. See ya. See you later, Buckamouse. Thanks for coming. And Star. That's a microscope that can connect to your PC. Ah, okay. Spend more time modding and fixing than we do playing. That's right. What did old... Yeah, well, I always say that the mod is the game. All right, so now I want to do the opposite corner. I'm just making sure that so I tack down on this short side here in the corner here. I don't have any flux on the long sides yet, but the pins are lined up. Actually, they're not. They're way off. Jeez. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so that is lined up. I'm going to tack something on this side. The long sides are lined up. I'm going to tack the far short side. Oh gosh. And move the whole thing, obviously. Well, I think everything's lined up, so I'm just going to send it. Like I said, if we have to, hopefully not, but if we have to touch things up, we can touch things up with hot air. But yeah. Okay, making progress. All right, so that's one short side. There's a bridge on this side, but that's all right. We'll move on to this side. I'm going to add some of the Tachyflux a little bit. This side looks a little dry. Okay, that's 2 sides. Actually 3 sides, and I gotta finish up this bottom side here. Almost there. Just hit that bridge with some of that. All right. Well, it's a it's a little cockeyed. This bottom side is not 100% lined up. It's not lined up. Like I don't think there's any bridges. And they look like they're making connections. So I'm gonna leave it for now, and if I have to touch it up after we do the rest of everything, then I can do that. Yay, we got a Game Boy CPU on there. That's fun. Usually rotate the board and check each set of pins. It's easier to see if they're straight with pins pointing out. Like out toward me. Yeah, I mean this side's fine. This side's fine. This side's a little. Yeah, this side's a little off. This side's a little off, but not. I mean, we're talking like half a millimeter probably. So. I'm going to leave it for now. If I have to touch it up later, then I will. This makes me want to pull the trigger on the SYF Game Gear board to fix a Game Gear. Yeah, that's nice. And plus, I don't think you have to assemble. I mean, you have to assemble the. You have to take the ASIC off, but you don't need to assemble it. You don't need to populate the board, so that's nice. All right, yeah, we got a lot done. We got pretty much the Game Boy Color, pretty much all the parts that we need from it. I might, they're on the table, so I might scrub them out. Like I'll probably clean out the extension port and any of the other plugs. I'll just try to clean the inside of them if I can with some IPA. Maybe I have some electric contact cleaner that might be good for the switches and stuff. So yeah, we're making progress. I think Sunday we're gonna be able to bang out some more parts of the board, some more parts of the board to populate. I don't know. I'm still waiting on the battery connectors and the screen. from Retro Game Repair Shop, which should be here sometime shortly. They're not going to take that long. Hey, Bartleby, thanks. Thanks for the gifted memberships. Yeah, okay, so I'm excited. I'm super duper happy, and I can't wait to try out. I've never done any. I have done a Game Boy Advance LCD mod, but I've never done a Game Boy Color LCD mod, and I really think that this is going to scratch my Pokemon itch in this form factor here. Yeah. All right. So I will see everybody on Sunday, and we're going to just populate some more of this board. All right. Thanks, everybody.